from the word go, I think from the word go, I knew I want to go to school with my daughter. I had seen a few patterns of the things that were done to me when I was younger being done to my daughter at that time. Personally, I could never co-share a house with university students because it gets easier when it's just two people. Hapo unajua it's 50-50. Long live help. The way I survived in university was help and that small biashara that I had for hawking clothes door to door. But it reached a point where they banned hawking around the school. I had reached a point, the whole being overwhelmed, nikapoteza hiyo hamu ya masomo. You know, I was wondering, for what? For what now? I've struggled so much and the morale just ilipotea tu. Hello, my name is Carolina, the host of Dining and Journals podcast, and this is episode 6 of the podcast. I'm so excited to be finally at this point. It all started as a dream, and we're finally here to an extent that some people, I won't name names, are, you know, it has started rubbing off badly on some people, and my friend told me that's how you know a podcast is working, you know. And since this is my story, and as I was starting this whole podcast, I said the theme of this year for me is revisiting self. And part of revisiting self means I'm going to talk about some things that happened to me, because this is my story that I'm telling. This is my truth. That it might not go very well for a few people who are part of the story. Probably the people who, you know, made it happen the way it happened, or the observers. It's crazy and it can get crazier. So anyways, on this episode 6, I want to make it a bit light-hearted and talk about just me and my baby. Just the two of us. Okay, I digress. So this story is about how I navigated part of my campus journey with my baby, because I was living with her at the time. I'm still living with her, but you can get the picture, right? This is a first year, second year student in university with a baby in school also, because she was at school at that time. And it wasn't easy, as you all know, you know. Most girls I know, because it's not a new thing for a girl to go back to school or to go to university when they have a child already, right? But most people I know, they leave their kids at home and go study, and, you know, they see their children during the holidays. They see their children sometime maybe when they break or go for weekends. If your Ushago is not that far, you get the drift. So why did I decide to, you know what, I will come to school with my baby, we're gonna do this together, and it's just me and her against the world, blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's the story for today. And I hope too it inspire somebody out there, because I think the whole drift, the whole moral of this stories that I'm telling, especially when it involves my education as a young mother, a single mother at that time, also this time, oh my God, is so that maybe there's somebody there who uliachia form 2, form 3. This is for you who is there, you're wondering if that's the end, you know, getting a baby and all. And I understand nowadays people are so conscious with their reproductive health, and I stand everybody who is, you know, who understands themselves enough to know how to, like, because prevention is better than cure. Let's get honest. Let's be real with this one. So anyways, yeah, I am out of form 4, as I had said earlier in the other episodes. I am I've gotten a very good, not a very good grade, but a good grade regardless, enough to take me to university. I applied. And from the word go, I think from the word go, I knew I want to go to school with my daughter. I can handle it. I always knew I can handle this whole being with her, studying. It's not hard, being a firstborn daughter. You've been there, done that. It's nothing new. It's just a matter of looking at the schedule or schedule, potato, and knowing what works for you. And also I had heard, people who had talked to get to draw some encouragement from before executing the idea. They had told me, hii university yenye watu wanaendanga hata wakiwa wameolewa. Mtu anaenda asubuhi, classes, nini, anarudi kwa nyumba, they prepare their children and their husband. So I knew this was easy to navigate, despite me being a full-time student and jobless at that time. So, yeah. I have gotten that grade. I have applied for placement. I've been placed to that school. I was very, what is this word? I was very conscious about the choices that I made for my university placement. And I knew I wanted it to be along Thika Road because I had family members along Thika Road. And it takes a village. And I knew some days as a student, as an individual, I would need somebody to look maybe after my kid. Maybe when the classes are late, I would need somebody to pick her from school and stuff like that. So I was very conscious when I was choosing school. I wanted it to be Thika Road, one of those. And the best part about that is there are so many schools in that place. Another thing is I am a protege of you worked very hard. We will repeat a math. Just do a math related course, stuff like that. I don't think I had so many choices at that time. So most of my choices were bound on location. They were not steered toward the course that I was taking. I was just praying that I get a school that will take me for the course that I chose and for the location that I chose. So I was very conscious with all the schools along Thika Road, Kina KU, Kina JKUAT, MKU is in Thika, so even better because most of my family are more towards Thika than towards Nairobi. You get the drift. So the results, the announcement for the placement came, and I was placed in the exact school that was my second choice, I guess. Yeah, it was my second choice. But it worked for me. It worked for me perfectly because I would go, I knew that in the same area that I was gonna settle, the same location, my auntie was there. I had another auntie like a short distance away from there also. With a boda, I could easily drop and pick my kid, or I could just ask somebody to pick my baby. Now, what triggered this decision? Let us get to the root cause of this whole, why are you going to school with your baby and you can just leave them at home? You can just, and have fun, because university is a part where you're transitioning from your teenage to your early 20s, as far as I know anyway, in the Kenyan system, 844 back then. So I was, this decision of going with, this whole decision would probably affect my social life, obviously. It would affect my financial life, obviously, because even if you have maybe a part-time job, you can work in the evening. It's easy to do that if you're a student and only responsible for yourself. But now, imagine you're a student, you have a kid, you have to wake up in the morning and prepare them to go to school as you prepare yourself to go to school and stuff like that. So why the sacrifice when you could just have left this baby at home? Why the sacrifice when you could just have done things differently? What triggered this? Now, that's the root cause. That's what I will be talking about mostly today. As I said, my mom's shop had burnt down. She was going through it. And I knew at the back of my mind, it would weigh on her more than she needed. She would have more responsibility than she needed at the time. And also now, I was, in my last episode with the Not a Daddy's Girl episode, I had seen a few patterns of the things that were done to me when I was younger being done to my daughter at that time. We were getting the same anxiety whenever he came home. And I said, if this is how they are treating her when I am here, what about when I leave for school? Will I even be able to study? Will I even be able to concentrate? And as much as university pass mark ni 40 siku zote, kuna formation, kuna 1, 2, 3, you can always pass university classes. For me to do stuff that I want to do, or to get to the maximum grade, if I can say that, I need also maximum attention. And I'm not one who can multitask. My mind is at home thinking about what is happening to my child, and it's also in class. I'm not that kind of a learner when it comes to education. So I just decided it's easier for me to handle the whole issue, to just go with her at school. And I'm already grown anyway. I've been taking care of my siblings. I'm a firstborn daughter. It's nothing new to me. Si kitu sijapitia yet already. It's not ati I'm starting this. And there were no two ways about it. Circumstances. Sometimes circumstances push you into this. And also nobody volunteered. Like most of the people I was telling, I'm thinking I should carry my baby with me when I'm going to school. The answer was, yeah, I think you should. They know how it is. They knew how it was back then. So I decided, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. And she's better off with me. I'll navigate this easier with more peace of mind, knowing that I'm seeing her in the evening. I am looking at her progress. I am seeing what she's doing, how she's been, like the whole monitoring. And also now, considering that I had already lost like 2 years of bonding and being with her, when I went back to high school, Form 3 and Form 4, she was already 2 at the time. By the time I'm going to university, she was 4. I decided this is a good time to compensate and to be with her. And I used to not to hide the fact, I used to not talk much about it when I was in high school. But when I came to university, even my classmates knew, she has to rush immediately after classes because she has to go home by 4. My daughter's school was, they used to get out of school by 4:35. And most classes at my MKU, the school that I went to, zilikuwa zinaisha at 4. And sometimes when you're very unlucky, there is that one class that used to extend up to 7. And that is the one. There weren't many of those in a week. Sometimes I would miss them because, 7, and I still have to travel back to the place that I'm living. Sometimes, not sometimes, you all know how it goes. The houses around the school are expensive, first of all. Also, very hard to find a vacant one because there are so many people who need spaces. As much as they're expensive, you can co-share. Personally, I could never co-share a house with university students because they don't understand. They don't understand why you have to be, to be up so early when they have a class. They don't understand why. As in, it's a whole thing. And also now, the whole dynamic of co-sharing, it gets easier when it's just 2 people. Hapo unajua it's 50-50. If you're paying rent like 12,000, unajua one person is paying 6, the other person is paying 6. But now it's 2 people, one with a kid. I didn't want to have the whole, ingekuwa too tricky, let's just say that. So instead of living closer to the university or co-sharing, I had decided to rent a bit further, like the next town from the school. And I would rush and go back, pick my baby. And I think, when they said it takes a village, it really does take a village, because most of the time I was in communication with the teacher. I was in communication with my neighbor. God bless you, Mercy. I know you'll watch this. This neighbor of mine, sometimes she would, maybe I have a very extremely early class, and I can't drop my baby at school before 6. And I had to be there before 6 so that maybe kuna cut, you have to study for it or do the final touches, etc. Oh God, I'm getting overwhelmed. Yeah, but I would talk to her. She would be like, okay, nafaa kufika job by 8, so I can prepare her. Ama wacha tu mmemtayarishia maybe food and whatever. And I will dress her up. I will make sure she gets to the school. I'll drop her before I leave for work. And that's how we were staying. Also, now there's an auntie of mine, as I said earlier. She used to work around that area at that time. She would pick my baby when I was late, especially the early times, uko, the first year uko, before I knew more people. Also before she left the place, because eventually she left. So I would tell her to, when I'm late, I would communicate with the teacher, and they would get in touch. She would go pick her. Sometimes maybe when I didn't cook too much dinner last night so that she can carry, I used to find it easier to either pay at school that 100 bob, or to take fresh food to her. Maybe kama shule wanakula ugali, my baby does not like ugali that much. So I would liaise with my auntie or the teacher to make sure mtu mmoja tu atampelekea chipo, and they all came through enough like that. So where was I? Oh yes, it takes a village. That far we've established. Now, my social life was close to zero to non-existent, because what are you gonna do in the weekend? First of all, una pesa. Second, school activities. I never attended most of those, but I remember this one time I was in music contests. Oh, I can sing actually, but not more of listen to the words and not the voice, stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. But on those days where I had to be somewhere over the weekend, the other auntie of mine, I would drop my baby to that auntie, and they would stay with her very harmoniously, very loving. And also, she's an easy child to go by. Ananga mambo mo bata sai. And I just thank God, because she made it very easy for both of us, And that's not a child's work to do that. A child should be chaotic if they want to be, or whatever emotions they want to nini. But somehow too, I think she had this angel's touch where she just knew my mom is already going through it, and the least I can do is just be, calm. And she was always that, and I really thank God. She's still like that, but right now I'm just thinking, probably the effects of what is it called? Preteen, because she'll just lock herself in the bedroom and do whatever. Anyway, now comes the finances. How are you managing to finance yourself, your kid, and with all that's going on back at home? Long live help. Yo. Long live help, because most of the survival, like the way I survived in university was help, and that small biashara that I had for hawking clothes door to door in the hostels. And it reached a point, because it reached a point, the people I was selling to, because it was, at that time, there was no rules against going into the hostel, hawking door to door, inside the school, because there are hostels that are outside the school and hostels that are inside the school. So I could go to either or both, whichever one. Kama niko na class and there is a gap between the two classes, I would carry my big bag with clothes inside and we would just go with a friend. I had this very good friend also. She would, she was just there cheering me, yay, unaona umeuza na ulikuwa umesema utawaongelesha, like you are fearing to go into that building. So I would carry that big bag, go to class, finish the class. That whole gap, because there was like 3 hours gap sometimes, I would now hawk, go door to door. And the best thing about that is girlies will always buy. And I used to buy stuff when I am sourcing for stock, like I am buying for myself. Things that I would wear. I like to believe that I have a moderately good fashion sense. So I would buy these very cute tops, very cute sweaters, jeans, shorts, everything. What is it called? Crop tops. Crop tops were moving, hot cake, those ones. So I'm done with the class, bag on my back, either outside the school or inside the school. And I had these very nice guys who used to promote me when I was selling hoodies and all that. I used to know every market day I have to get at least 4, 5, 6 hoodies at most for these guys. Na wangenunua tu most of the time. So, class is over. I've already said that. Class is over. I start moving now with the bag door to door. But it reached a point where they banned hawking around the school. And I really understand that decision, You never know who is who. Some girls in the ladies' hostels were complaining that their stuff was getting lost. The invasion also. Maybe you're doing your thing in the cubicle that you are assigned. Mko wengi already, so you can imagine somebody just coming with a bag and start selling. So, I mean, that's part of the hardship that I was getting. Aki mtu anajaribu top, anajaribu hata 2 ama 3, and they really want to take it, but their friend akotoa hapo na macho like, babes, are you sure you want to take that one? Uko sure utanunua kweli? And anaanza kumkumbusha their finances zako ziko aje. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so you ulikuwa unaona 600 ishaingia, because sometimes I would sell it at 150 to 200. That's good profit. Hata ukiuza vitu 5, you already have enough to do whatever. Yeah. Now, clothes were not the first thing that I was selling. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And before I started with clothes, before I started with clothes, I was selling, was it fruits? At one point I was selling fruits. At another point I was selling cakes. Yeah, the cakes that are sold in pieces. It's a whole like a birthday cake before decoration. And then you cut it into pieces and then you sell it. That was me. Oh my God. That was me. And how to convince people to eat stuff. Yeah. Crazy. I used to sell, yes, but that was not moving as well as clothes. Also, now one thing about selling foodstuffs, wakikosa kukula alafu. There's only too much cake that you can eat, you as a seller. So you just, ukirudi na more pieces than you should, you get so heartbroken. But tomorrow is another day. I think I sold cakes for almost 2 months before now I decided this can't be it. I need to think outside the box better. The good thing with clothes is you can just sell to anybody and they'll buy. Kuna mwenye ataona and they want to take it to their sister or clothes were much better. And stock hata ikikaa for a year. I think I still have some clothes I never managed to sell from way back then. And they're still there, So stock yangu hata ikikosa kuenda, you still know it's not hurting you in any way, form, or... Yeah. Now, what am I doing with this money that I am looking for so hard? I would first of all do some shopping. I am very organized when it comes to shopping for stuff. And I knew every coin has to be accounted for. Remember, it's not just me. Sometimes my baby wants some snacks. Sometimes she needs fruits. As fruits are an essential. So when I am getting this money, I'm the kind of person who I find it so hard to just ask for money. And I, as I said earlier, I was entitled to that money, pocket money and stuff like that from my parent. But wewe ni mzazi already, so what business do you have calling home? And it's easier to provide for you peke yako, but your child, like, I wasn't really feeling very comfortable just calling home and telling mama ti kitabu ya mtoto ya kuandikia imeisha, sijui anahitaji socks. It wasn't sitting very well with me. So all this thinking outside the box was to lessen the burden, and I think it helped me grow more. As I said also, it wasn't really easy. University is supposed to be a place where you transition and you go to all those raves, you go to all those activities, you join a club. Maybe I would really have loved to play tennis. I would have loved to go to those trips that I used to see other students doing and stuff like that. But if I'm not hawking and selling stuff, I am in my house depressed because there was a whole, actually I think the easy to majukumu, there was a whole phase where I was so depressed, and like, hey, it was so bad I missed a cut. And now you're the strong one. Outside there, everybody is seeing smiles, everybody is seeing you beaming, the strong woman fallacy. And it's not easy to convince such people that hauna hata fare ya kutoka hapo uende class ukafanye cut, and you know how much a big deal cut. Actually, the school I went to, cuts were more important than the main exams are important, yes, but cut, if you miss a cut, there's a chance that you might have to repeat that whole unit for the next semester. So you can imagine how much desperate the situation was by the time I am just deciding to sleep through the education, to sleep through the time I'm supposed to be going to the class for cut. Anyway, do you have a moral of the story for this one? Let me see. I don't know. I'm just telling this story just to tell it. But if you can get some inspo, some inspiration here and there from that, well and good for you. And as I said, this is my healing journey. I don't know why I just keep thinking I should keep clarifying. And if somebody is caught up in the story, it's just, Pole, you were there. So I'm telling a story that you happen to be in, and it's not my fault that you were there. Yeah. Anyways, it was good to remember that part. So, has it gotten easier since then? I can say yes. Did I ever finish university? The answer is Corona. Kila kitu COVID-19. Sorry. It's only that it happened in 2020. I was in my final year by the way when that happened, and I just knew I wanted to finish it, as much as katikati tu of that whole studying and doing it all, I lost a lot of morale, I lost a lot of morale in between, and it was hard. And to some extent, as much as I had purposed to pay more attention to my education and all that, help was paying part of it. My mom was really coming through kwenye ataweza. What else? Oh, yeah, actually. And also, there's a time I remember a friend of mine bailed me out in a big way, because a fellow comrade kukupatia 8,000 ulipe balance on a Friday, mkienda kufanya exam on a Monday, after you've called that one person, that one family member mwenye amesaidia kila mtu in the family to study, but when it came to you, that's where they drew the line. That was crazy. I think sometimes when it's not working all over, but mambo zikianza kufunguka ndo unaonanga, yeah, even the places where they had said no, the yeses have started coming in. So when I say it takes a village, as I had said earlier, it really does take a village for me, for my baby, and I'm so grateful for all the village that came together to make that a reality. Oh yeah, why I did not finish my course, which I shall revisit. Hakuna uzee kwa masomo. That's what my mom keeps saying, my grandma also. 2020 came, schools were closed. We started doing the online classes. I think I was in 3.1. I had remained just 3 semesters and I would be graduating in the following year, 2021 that is. So 3.2, the COVID-19 came, the schools were closed, we had to go home for a whole year. And believe me, that was a relief for me. I think I needed that whole break, without feeling like you're taking a break, other people are still studying. I needed that whole break to rethink my life, just to restructure. And it worked. I think it's the reason why I'm even here, because with the whole gap that I got together with others, I was still doing my virtual classes. I was taking my cards, just have a few undone main exams for the end semester, nimalize tu your course. But I had reached a point, the whole being overwhelmed, nikapoteza hiyo hamu ya masomo. I was wondering, for what? For what now? I've struggled so much, and the morale just ilipotea tu. Just ended, And 2020 gave me a new perspective. I started a course for these online writing gigs, and by the time 2021 everything everything resumed in 2021, I was already on a path and ready to do something different, and I did something different, still studying, but hiyo tu morale ilikuwa imeisha completely. I decided to take a sabbatical, which I'm still taking until now. Yeah. Tutamaliza tu. So anyways, just feel inspired, really. Sina ya kusema, sina mengine ya kusema. Kiswahili kitukuzwe. Yeah, that's a wrap for episode 6. I've been your host, Carolina. Bye.